just didn't know certain things. Like there's certain things you like one point that you make when you're like, do you think I belong in a cage because I disagree? And that's just a big line in the sand in an argument where you're like, and that's changed my view of a lot of laws because you've said that, where I was just like, whoa. Because my buddy Dave Smith is like, the threat is violence and imprisonment and death for any law. And I'm like, man, that's an intense thought. And when you actually say to someone in their eyes, you say, should I be put in a cage because I smoke marijuana? And I still have that duality, that cognitive dissonance, because the answer is obviously no, but I can't picture a world without a government. And I'm just trying to be as honest as possible about that.
I get
because
that.
It's like, I know you're right. Because I can't get past that thing, but I also might have just a little bit of Stockholm syndrome where I'm like, but the
listen,
government
no, I understand that. The government is like the reserve parachute. You know, it's like, because, okay, free market.
Oh, right.
Oh, shit. It's flying off into the sun and it's being attacked by eagles. And I have my reserve parachute called government, because otherwise, you know, I'm just a perfectly consistent moral stain on the sidewalk. So I understand that. Let me sort of give you a tiny analogy, because the whole point is you're not supposed to be able to conceive of a life or a society without a state. You can't. That's the whole point of freedom. If you could conceive of it, you'd be the one in charge of it and organizing it. It's sort of like saying, I can't conceive, like, you know, go back to like 1985 and say, what's communications technology going to be like in 35 years? Well, if you could conceive of that, you'd end up owning the entire market, because you'd get the reason. Like, the whole point of freedom is you can't figure out what the heck is going on. And that's the great lie of government and central planning, that they have some clue. So I'll give you a sort of an example. Now, all societies prior to the modern West, for the most part, and there was the Great Crusade of the British Empire, was to eliminate slavery. So all societies everywhere throughout all time had dabbled in slavery off and on. And a lot of societies that had slavery continuously throughout their history, particularly the Middle East. So let's say you and I are having a debate, I don't know, it's like 1820 or something like that. So we got, you know, weird ruffles and uncomfortable wigs and shit like that. So we're having a debate and you say, okay, well, if we get rid of slavery, who's going to pick the cotton, right? Who's going to pick the food? Like, so you'll have to pay people who are now working for free. And if you pay people, you have to jack up the price of your fruit and of your cotton, so to the point where poor people won't be able to afford it and they're starved to death. Right? Okay, that seems reasonable. And I say, hey man, I smoked some wild peyote last night and I had a vision. Let me tell you, Owen, what my vision was. My vision was that after we get rid of slaves, after we end slavery, there are going to be these giant metallic robots that sweep back and forth across the fields. And they're going to be powered by crushed prehistoric tree juice.
Right.
And then there will be flat roads of like, they don't change in summer and winter, flat, perfectly even roads, and giant wheeled machines, also powered by the same squished prehistoric tree juice, will go rocketing across at speeds we can't even fathom, while at the same time, there will be these giant flying machines that are halfway to space.
Right.
These giant exploding tubes of metal, also, oddly enough, powered by the same crushed prehistoric tree juice, and they will fly all over the place, and everything will be cheaper over time.
And Bruce Jenner's a chick.
Right.
No, I like what you're